Hello and welcome to my workshop. So today we're going to finish up the front cab, get the fenders beefed up a little bit, a little more support, sand all this green off, get all the angles, the body lines, all the details sorted out with the front and ready to be painted. So let's get started. All right, so I've gone through the first phase of filling and laying some primer down. I did a sanding coat. A lot of it was cutting the plastic down, getting things shaped in final what I'm looking for, and then I put a coat of primer on. I can start to see all the other gaps and little pinholes and issues I have, and I've come back and filled those in. So anyway, I've did a little bit of shaping on the fenders. I've doubled up the thickness. So as you can see, I have quite a bit of the Tamiya putty filler on the fenders, and I got to get those shaped. I believe there's a little bit more rounded over on the top, but I got to go back and look at the picture. I'm getting most of these panels filled in and little gaps and things I need to work on. There's some that I'm leaving, that represent the hood and such. Once I get everything filled back in, I'm going to have to come back in and recut in panel lines, but they're going to be in different spots than where the seams were. A little more sanding, and hopefully we can get to our first coat of camouflage color soon. All right, so I've pretty much got all the details on the cab I wanted. I've also gone through the multi-step process of painting. I still have to come back and scratch off the top layer and start exposing some of the primers and different layers of paint below to give it that aged look, and then do some more weathering techniques. But I'll do that off camera. The top has several rivets, which are the push pins cut off and glued in. Added this front like valance piece with like a simulated like bar across it. Also these two little holes, which I believe are air intakes. I'm not 100% sure, which are essentially the highlighter pin. I cut the end of it off and turned it around and glued it back in that way. The fenders all cleaned up. Added some door handles I made from scratch, little hinges, and then a bezel around the back to hold in the window glass. A lot of the little small details added around the edge of the window across the back to give it the appearance that it's an old truck that's seamed together. And so this would be the seam. I also cut a lot of these grooves in these panel lines for the door, and then around the hood, in the rear, and just to give it the shadow effect, give it some more scale. When you do the weathering, it's really going to stand out. I still going to come back and make a grill that will be a mesh grill that will bolt on the front of this. But like I said, I'll get most of those other details later. But I think all in all, I'm pretty happy with the way this has turned out. Get some weather and get it on the truck, and it's getting really close to the end. So until then, we'll see you on the rocks.